What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and this week I want to talk about Metacritic changing how it's doing user reviews, seemingly because of The Last of Us Part 2. So this was, I believe, something that came out yesterday morning, in terms of, again, Metacritic changing how they're doing it. So there's this game called Superluminal, which came to the PS. Now, I've never heard of this game before in my life, but we can use it as an example, and it seems like people are looking at this as an example. This game came out on PS4 on July 7th, and underneath it, I guess to the right of it, where you would be able to normally give the user scores, it says, please spend some time playing the game, and then it also says that you can come back at 12 p.m. PST on July 9th to review it. So it seems like Metacritic is changing it where they're going to give 1, 2, 3, like somewhere in that range, a few days to be able to play a game before you are able to review it. Now, will this actually, well, I mean, this is just a general discussion in general. I was thinking of saying, okay, would I title this, like, will this actually work, or what I think about it? I think just talking about it in general, right? Pros and cons to it. Here's the thing. As I've said in the past, you have every right to voice your concern or criticism, or whatever you want to say, on anything, okay? The harassment, right? We talked about that on Podcast Now yesterday. The harassment, that's going too far. That's not something that's, I think, acceptable in the slightest. But if you're angry at it, you have every right to tell them that you're mad about this game. But again, going to the threat territory, going into all that, I definitely don't agree with. I don't condone that. But I do think there is power, and there should be power given to people in general to be able to voice their opinion. If you guys don't like a game and you want to give it a bad score on Metacritic, go ahead. The thing is, again, like I said, and this I definitely got twisted, I think. I don't think people fully grasped the message, so maybe on the second try, I can maybe get it. When The Last of Us got review bombed, that's definitely the term we could use for it. When The Last of Us got review bombed, I made a video on Podcast Now. I talked about, does it matter? The problem with review bombing it in the way that people did is the same thing, honestly. It's not the exact same, but it's where people are taking it to such an extreme that maybe they don't get their actual point across. It's actually the same kind of point I made with the harassment. Like, okay, again, going over that line to harassing people, that's a, no can do, right? You don't do that. And I think that maybe even would take away from the actual constructive criticism. I said that in yesterday's video, where it's like, what if Laura Bailey, what if Neil Druckmann? There's some actual valuable lessons that people can learn from the mistake. Again, whether I guess if you thought the game was perfect, then there's nothing you can learn from it. But even if you thought the game was really good, I think you can agree that you can take some notes of, okay, what are some of the valid things people are saying? How can we improve it going in the future? Well, if you get attacked, if you start getting bombarded with all these attacks that people are sending them, I think that takes away from the actual real messages that are also being sent. You know what I mean? And so again, I didn't have that actually to use as an example when The Last of Us got review bombed on Metacritic. Again, I don't think there's anything wrong with giving this game a 2, with giving this game a 3, with giving this game a 4. Now, as I've said, I don't think the game is a 2, a 3, a 4. Okay? I mean, I don't give review scores, but I don't think the game is literally like garbage, okay? Like the review score should literally be like a 1 out of 10. And it is kind of to that point, right? So when you gave the review scores, or when people were giving the review scores, and, you could see the user scores that first day, it was like, what, 3.4? Now I think it's into the 4s. I honestly didn't even look, but it's got so many tens of thousands, or at this point maybe hundreds of thousands of reviews, and it was stuck at like the middle or the low 3s for the longest time at that point, because everybody just says, oh there were trolls, there were bots, they were whatever, you know what I mean? And again, same thing with the harassment thing. I think it takes away. Now, again, I don't think it's going as far as the harassment is taking it further than just leaving a bad score on a website. But even doing that, everybody giving it terrible scores and it having such a low score for the longest time and still having a low score, I feel like you kind of just look at it and you see that score and it's like, all right, well, is anybody really going based off of the user scores on Metacritic? And maybe there are definitely some people. I think there's more people that would do that, and including myself. I think I definitely do agree that the user scores on basically anything are probably more in line than the critical score. Okay, so like on Steam, probably probably the user scores would be the thing you would look at versus anything else. Metacritic, the user scores versus the, what score it gets from journalists and stuff. I do agree with that, but still, you look at, and if you've been part of this journey of The Last of Us, you could have maybe just said, oh, it was just a lot of people that were mad at the game. You know what I mean? So again, in the same kind of way, I don't really think giving it bad scores is going to hurt it all that much. Now, I could definitely be very wrong. We'll have to see if, I think definitely negative word of mouth, which was passed around with The Last of Us, will probably hurt its sales. I don't necessarily think the Metacritic part will do that. Honestly, I don't really have a problem with this Metacritic move. You see Rotten Tomatoes because of like Captain Marvel stuff, because of other movie things. I think that is more of an attempt to hide things, to try and protect the Hollywood part of it. You know what I mean? I think the changes Rotten Tomatoes has made in the past has definitely hurt like us and only helped the elite, or like, again, like the Hollywood people. Whereas for Metacritic, I do understand this. I honestly do feel like this is a solid move, because at the end of the day, well, it does two things. One, it's giving you more time. So ideally, you would have, because I mean, factually, more people reviewed this game as the days went on, and I think that's because obviously the people that are going to review it the first couple seconds, first couple minutes, first couple hours, those are the people that probably are just passionate, whether one way or the other. Again, I don't really think it matters, because I don't really think it's going to change all that many opinions, and you're allowed to do that. Obviously, you're not anymore. The thing is, those people will still be able to do it 2 days later. Okay, they'll still be able to leave their reviews 2 days later. So say this happened with The Last of Us. Well, The Last of Us came out, let's say, June 19th or something like that. 2 days later, you'd be able to do it. The people that were going to give it bad scores day one are still going to give it bad scores day two. I think all it does is let everybody else kind of catch up to it. You know what I mean? Because again, over time, the scores got better. The score of The Last of Us got better, because I think you had a lot more positive scores than negatives. And also, to get it to a 3, to get it like in the 3 to 4 range, what I will say, kind of in defense of the game, again, don't flip out on me. We can all have different opinions, but in defense of the game, in order to get it that low, you probably needed to have had a lot of people giving it, I guess just factually, this is how math works. You'd have to have had a lot of people giving it 3, 2, and 1. Right? You had to have got a lot of people doing that, and not as many people giving it 7, 8, 9, 10. I think as time has gone on, you've had more people give it scores just above that average. Right? That's just how averaging the numbers works. Right? So I do think in general, limiting it and having you be able to do this a couple days later to try to get as many people to play the game already to leave their scores as possible, I do think that's a good move. I don't think it's going to stop. If you're against, review bombing, or, wherever you stand on it, I don't think it's going to stop that, because I think that's still going to happen. But at the same time, I think you're going to have more people that actually played the product to help out. Now, again, I have nothing against, if you have criticism with this game, go at it. But I also do think, if you're going to hate just to hate, you know what I mean? If you're going to give it a 0 just to give it a 0, I don't think, like I've always said, I guess I'll die on this hill. I don't think the game is a 0, okay? I do think there are major problems with this game that I have called out, and I will continue to call out, and I would I want Naughty Dog to be able to take these criticisms and use them to fix future games, but I wouldn't have done first day, okay, it's a 0 out of 0 game, okay? It's a complete trash fire game. I don't, and honestly, I do think playing it did give me a different perspective that I didn't have before. I'm not saying you needed to have played it to be upset at it, because I've always stood on the side that you could be upset at this game even if you didn't play it. I completely respect that, but I don't know, obviously there's a lot of different sides to this thing. I think overall this Metacritic thing is fine. I don't think it's anything to flip out about. I don't think it's anything to be really mad at, because at the end of the day, if you still want to leave bad scores, you're going to be able to leave bad scores. It also just gives more people time to play the game before they can actually leave a review. That's all it is. So I think overall it's a fine thing. So let me know, guys, in the comments below, what do you think? Are you okay with Metacritic changing how the user scores are going? Do you think, or do you agree with what I was saying on the Last of Us review stuff? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed to this YouTube channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when these videos go up, and I do a brand new video on this channel every single day, and so I hope to see you guys on tomorrow's video.